So in this video, I'm just going to do a quick intro about myself. It's going to be super fast and kind of furious. I'm not going to spend too much time on each slide. So you can see up there, that's my name. Currently, I'm a professor in the Art and Design Games and Playable Media program at Ucsc. So let's keep going. That's where I'm from. I'm from Belo Horizonte, Brazil. It is a very large city, as you can see in this image. Most people don't know it. There's a great Anthony Bourdain episode on it. I forget the name of the show right now. On the state of Minas Gerais, where Belo Horizonte is a part of, and he spends a lot of time in that city. I love it, but I left it in 2002 to California because, for various reasons. One of them is because I wanted to be a graphic designer, and this is the best place to be one and to learn about graphic design. So that's how long I've been here, and I've lived in California since 2002. I also used to have hair, so there's that. I am a huge basketball fan. I was actually proposed to at the Warriors stadium or arena, or Oracle Arena, rest in peace. So I was actually proposed to right behind the Warriors bench, and Stephen Curry was the first person to congratulate us. Obviously, it's super memorable experience. So it's a huge part of who I am. I'm really into basketball, and I'm a huge Warriors fan. I've been since I moved here, so been blessed so far. If you want to talk sports, let me know. So a little bit about my work. I came here, like I said, to be a graphic designer. That's what I wanted to do with my life. So I'll show you a little bit of my design work, which spans from 1998 to about 2011. A little bit after that, but that's kind of the hard date. I also worked as a designer back in Brazil. Had a career before I moved here. So I worked on a lot of books while doing my career, a lot of different kinds of books, really. I made, CDs and stuff for bands, posters, etc. I worked a lot for nonprofits and also art museums. This is a piece for the SF MoMA that was really fun to do. And I made a few typefaces, like this one. And then obviously as a designer, you make a lot of logos, business cards, etc. Stuff that I'm just not going to bore you with. And I also did a lot of web work during that time, especially the time that I went freelance. I started to get a lot of web work. So, stuff for Dodge. This is a kind of a 3D, full screen thing, which at that point was like pretty revolutionary. This is back in 2007, something like that. I was actually the art director for the Rock Band, the first Rock Band website. That website was really fun to do. It took a lot of work. And after that, I started to get a lot of websites for games. So this is a celebrity gallery for Spore, where celebrities would, design their own Spore creature and put up in the gallery and so on and so forth. I did the EA and Wii website, and et cetera. There's a few other ones, Need for Speed, so on and so forth. In parallel with all my design work, I ran an art collective, and we did graphic design interventions, which basically means that we would get an area of the profession that we thought could, use a little look and look into, and then we would do an intervention on it. So this was a poster we designed for Portfolio Day for the AIGA, which is the largest graphic design professional association with thousands and thousands of members, and we used only free web fonts to design the logo. We also did a bunch of apparel and typography. So this says "Sorrir para não chorar," which means laugh so you don't cry, for a clothing line. And a bunch of digital art pieces. So this is a recombinant poster that kind of remade itself every few seconds using historical poster archives. So that's kind of how it looks in the show. And then I started to make games. I was sort of always loved video games my whole life, and I decided that I had enough programming experience, enough under my belt that I could make a career shift, and I decided to make games. So I made a card game on typography. I made a iOS puzzler, and in grad school I made a game about death called Warm at the Core, which kind of is a procedure generated 3D world that can only be played once. Every player has one life. They play it. The little dots that you see there are the souls, quote unquote, of other players. That's kind of how it looked like, and also 3D art. So as you can see, like there's 3D art in the previous game, and I spent a lot of time doing 3D art even before grad school. So 3D environment art, like this in the Unreal Engine. Got into 3D sculpting, which is a thing that I love, a part of the profession I love a lot. I actually teach a ZBrush class at UCSC. And you can see some portraiture. It's a Dishonored sort of style character. And more stuff, more zebra stuff. And I also really into anatomy, so I do a lot of anatomy studies. So it's a thing that you have to constantly learn as if you want to be a character artist. So I love doing anatomy. I did do 3D art for games as a freelancer professionally. This is actually a character that went into a game that was pretty terrible, but the character was fun to do. The classic Beholder. And I participate in some contests too. This is the latest one that I did a couple of years ago on ArtStation. I made this character based on a concept by another artist. And this is a 3D engine version of a character. And currently I'm working on a piece with Misha Cardenas called Sinsol, which is a AR 3D piece about climate change and displacement of migrant communities. And so I designed and did a 3D work for this character who is an AI that lives in AR space. Still working on that. There's a few cool things coming up still for that. And this is the asset that I made for this class. So this is, like I said, it was a really brief intro. I have a lot of experience in this area. I really love teaching. I really love 3D design, 3D art. So should be a pretty fun quarter. So if you need me for anything, I'm gonna post my office hours online. If you want to talk ball, currently the NBA draft is going on, and then we're gonna go into free agency. So that should be fun. I also really love baseball. So chime in there. I'll see you around.